This week, the Performance TV crew reveals a way to protect UTVs from fire, how to improve engine efficiency and durability, and the best way to pop the top on a Jeep. Next on Performance TV, presented by Top Coat.
Welcome to Performance TV, presented by Top Coat. We've got a great show for you this week. The UTV industry, it is so huge. People are getting them and they're having a great time and they're so much fun. But safety is something that should always be considered. And we have got a product that we're going to feature right now that is all about safety. Jacob is in the house from American Off-Roads, a company that offers a lot of different products, one of which a fire suppression system. First off, tell us about American Off-Roads.
Well, appreciate me having me here. American Off-Roads is actually the first company to have a platform designed for Made in America off-road parts and accessories all in one house.
So you offer a lot of different products, and fire suppression, that's going to be big in UTVs.
Correct, yes. So what you see here is Proteng, which we have through our platform, that is designed through the RV and the aeronautics and the trucking industry to suppress fire, which a fully automatic system, it comes in handy when you're upside down on your UTV.
Something that actually started off in racing. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, it actually comes from the Le Mans racing series through the different engineering to keep the residue down when it's deployed, and something that's fully automatic, so when situations arise, it fully deploys.
So just so everybody understands, there's no button, you do not have to activate it. This senses the fire and deploys. Tell us about it.
Correct. So it wraps completely around your engine and at any angle, so wherever the fire deploys, as it happens and comes into contact with it, the system deploys off because of the contact. And when that happens, it deploys about 3 to 4 feet radius from where that happens to suppress it. You hear it, you get out, safety avoided.
Gives you a little more time. Now we can see an example of exactly how it works right here on our table. That's where the fire was, and it heated up the product, and the product went onto the fire and put out the fire.
Correct. So your engine's running about 190 degrees at all times. This is charged at about 190 degrees at all times. So when the flame hits it, it deploys in that area. So if it happens on your exhaust side or on your intake side or around your turbo or any of those hotter areas, it deploys in those areas.
And now the engine is hot generally, so I'm sure the installation is something you got to take a little bit of care in doing.
Yeah, correct. When you put it around, it's a floating system so that it does not come into contact with any ambient heated items.
And it makes perfect sense. Now, safety in the UTV field, something that maybe people are just kind of warming up to.
Correct. You know, we spend a lot of money on different things and different items that are bolted up onto these different devices to carry those scenarios. And fire safety is usually one of the last ones because you feel pretty safe in a roll cage and seat belts and all, and a helmet and whatnot. But here, if it happens, what are you going to do when it's too late, where this can deploy at any time?
And what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the UTV and we're going to check out exactly how the install looks. Jake, we've come over to the vehicle, and looking at the engine compartment, you can see why this would be an important product. The install, kind of interesting in that zip ties, and it's very intuitive around the engine.
Yeah, it's a floating system that is designed not to come into contact with different heated items to accelerate the flash point of the device. And you can see in the different areas here on the zip straps how they're spaced away from the metal bars, away from the turbos, and away from the exhaust systems, and it's actually floating. So when you slow down, the temperature drops and it cools just as fast as it heats up. Because as you're driving, this item is getting to about 180 degrees so that when it does come into contact with flame, it deploys and it explodes.
Now there are many different brands of UTVs out there, and I'm sure you have experience with different ones. They take a little bit different route in how you're going to install it. Give us some insight.
Yep, so between all the major brands, Polaris and Honda and Yamaha and Can-Am, really you're just trying to stay away from the major points and where you're installing it. It's not just differently between the different engines, it's really different between the type of engine. So in this case, you're looking at a turbo engine which runs at a lot higher temperature, so you want to stay 6 to 8 inches away from that. But when you're laying it out, you're really just designing it to wrap completely around your engine. If your end points are ending at the end or behind your back, it really doesn't matter because it's wrapping all the way around your engine.
Now, as a suppression system and coming out of racing, I think this is genius because you just don't know when something is going to happen. We've got so many people out there hitting the trails, having a good time. Yeah, they've got a roll cage over their head, but there's a lot of other things that can happen with a performance vehicle, and you are handling one of those things.
Yes, and in this area, it's quite unique because we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on roll cages, you know, to protect us when we're upside down. We put seat harnesses in there so that when we're upside down, we don't fall. But nobody really thinks about when you're upside down, what if something's leaking in there and starts a fire? Do you have time to get out of your UTV when you're upside down? And this is what it's doing, is buying you time, because any scenario that lights inside there, it will interact at any point. There's no buttons. It's all the way around the tube that you can protect yourself to buy that time.
Important peace of mind for you out there in the wilderness, having a good time, maybe not thinking about that moment when fire may strike, and that's why you have a product like this. If you're interested, hit their website. They've got a lot of great information, and we'll be back with more Performance TV presented by Top Coat after this.